Good day, everybody. It's Daniel here, and this is our next Emotional English podcast episode where we learn an English language effortlessly, emotionally, fulfilled with energy, and of course, positively. Another day, another podcast. And I'm so sorry that I haven't finished another episode previous week, right, as I promised. This time I'm having a really, let's say, hectic week and... Sorry, guys. I'll do my plan at least one episode a week. And then if I do have some chance, right, if I do have a chance to publish more, I'll do it as soon as possible, okay, ASAP, right? And as for now, I have a great topic for discussion today, right? So we have a great discussion and the topic about how to understand the book you are reading. But before I do this, so I'm announcing the new event. It's called the Philosophical Club. If you guys are looking for an interesting discussion or a debate or just an interesting conversation in English, I'm having the great club. It's the Philosophy English Club event. It's online, so probably we'll use a Discord. Discord is a special app for communication. And our first club gonna gather on Sunday. On Sunday, it's the 23rd of April, right? And it's gonna be from from 12 p.m. until 2 p.m. So for 2 hours, we're going to speak and discuss the topic of philosophy and the topic related to morale and ethics, right? So it's the philosophy of ancient Rome and Greece. If you guys are interested, let's come up and let's just write me down on Instagram or reserve the seat on emotionalenglish.ru. You can do it there. If you can do it now, if you can't do it there, it means that I've uploaded my website. If you cannot, so just write me on Instagram. I will add you to the list, okay? And download Discord. Discord, it's an app. So just type in Google Discord and download this app for your computer. I will send you the link and I'll explain you how to connect to our communication. So the price for the lesson or the price for the communication costs 500 rubles per person. And you just go there. We have a nice discussion. We have an interesting discussion about philosophy of ancient Greece and the moral and ethics and the topic of ancient Roman Empire, right? It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. So a lot of interesting questions will be discussed there. Okay, but today I'm facing a very good topic. It's called How to Understand the Book We Are Reading. It's a very deep topic, and that's why I'm making 3 episodes of this topic. So it means today I'll show you the first method. Later on, we will face the method number 2 and the method number 3. Okay. So I use the website. It's called wikihow.com. I love this website. It's really neat. It's very good website. They show very nice information. The guy who wrote down this beautiful topic, right? This beautiful I can't say that it's a kind of lecture. No, it's just a little article, I would say, right? And the guy's name is Jake Adams. He's an academic tutor and a test prep specialist. So probably he's pretty nice guy because the language used very simple. I mean, I understand the language very nicely, and I hope you understand it as well with me. If we'll see something new here, I will just comment it with the explanation of the new vocab, and then I'll just go and comment each section with my own experience. If I see something interesting, we can think about it, right? We can discuss it all together. And then in the end, I'll ask you a couple of questions, right, about this. So we face the new method, right? How to understand the book we are reading now, or We will read in the future, right? Let's see. So the first method called dealing with confusing passages. Dealing with confusing passages. Passage, it's like the paragraphs, right? Your book has different ideas, different thoughts, and we have many passages and many parts, right, of our book. And some parts are pretty understandable. Some parts are not very understandable. So we can call them passage or paragraphs, right? So we deal with confusing passages all the time when we face something new. When you see something easy, right, it means that you know all the information, you know all the words there, and it's not kind of conquering your brain right now. It's not making you any disappointments, right? You just feel very good. You're not disturbed, and the book going pretty fast. But when the information is quite hard, right? The vocab is hard, or the thoughts of an author is kind of hectic, or I don't know, just chaotic. You go from one passage to another, and you're trying to find the connection between these, right, or within. And this is not so easy, to be honest. It's not so easy. Let's start this conversation with some steps, right? So the author, this guy, Jake, he pointed here how many? Seven steps for this method. And we'll go step by step with you together. I will read each step and then I'll comment it with an explanation, right? And with the description. Let's begin. So the step number 1, how to deal with confusing passages or texts, right? Or paragraphs. First of all, we should keep reading to see if we can figure it out. Right? Keep reading to see if we can figure it out. So we can analyze the topic. Is it understandable? For example, if I'm not the biologist, it's quite stupid to get the high-level book of biology and start to read it, right? It's stupid because I need a specific knowledge. And you know what? There is no option. There's no more simple option than to start read something more simple, something like a kiddie language, something simple and understandable in the topic I want to conquer, right? If I start reading something really hard, I will lose motivation very fast. So, and maybe with English, the same thing, right? Let's imagine your teacher said to you, okay, you, Mr. Student, should read this book. Let's say, I don't know, the Ripley's story, or I don't know what's the story, the topics you discussed there, Harry Potter, right? And you start reading your book, and then you struggle. You're like, oh my God, it's so hard, right? And there is a reason for it, because if it's too hard, if you feel not very good, you should start from something more simple, right? Find the adapted text, right, from the original. Let's imagine you have a story about Harry Potter, and there is a more simple version of Harry Potter, which you can read. And this is more simple to do because more simple vocab used there. And this is the best how you can learn and improve your basic vocab. Just read what you understand. And then step by step, gradually, you jump to the original, right? If you read the original book, so just don't read a lot, just start from little passages, right? And then when you understand the passage by passage, so you're getting used to it and you can continue your observation. Okay, I need to slow down. Sorry, guys. Today I have, like I said, this week is pretty hectic. I'm trying to hit all the balls or just hit all the rabbits right there. But okay, sorry about that. Let's begin. So keep reading to see if you can figure it out. If it's not your book, get rid of it. So stop reading it. Find something more simple for yourself, okay? It's easy to get hung up on confusing part of books or topics, right? Read the paragraphs immediately before and after the passage that you do not understand. If you're still confused, read a few more pages forward, okay? So just kind of I call this activity with my students, I call it scanning. So we just scan. First reading, it's always scanning. If it's too hard for you, you need to go level down, or you should just read it one more time or a couple more times to revise the vocab fully, right? If it's still hard, just go level down. Sometimes what the example the author shows us here, sometimes putting confusing passages into the wider context of the book will help you reach a sudden aha moment. And this is a good recommendation here, right? So we should keep reading to see if we can figure it out, not only with the understanding of the topic, maybe the context is pretty understandable for us, right? And this recommendation, this step is about getting the context meaning. For example, I see the word, let me see, what word? Let's say confusing passages, right? Let's imagine I don't understand the word passages, right? I don't understand it's a paragraph, right? And I read, sometimes putting confusing passages into the wider context of the book will help you reach a sudden aha moment. So it means I'm kind of putting confusing something into the wider context, and it means like some type of information, right? So I got the context of the word passage as the information, the piece of information. And this is the meaning which is very close. But sometimes you're very correct. Sometimes you're not, you're making mistakes, and it's okay. It's all about the experience, right? If you're not sure 100%, just check the dictionary, but we'll go to it a little bit deeper later, okay? So that's the recommendation number one. So if you see that the book is too hard for you, drop it. If you see that it's pretty understandable by the context, maybe not all vocab parts you understand, but you understand the book in general, so probably you can continue reading this book. It's not bad, right? You can continue to do this. So the second kind of tip, right, or the second recommendation author gives us here, he recommends us to reread the confusing parts again and again. And you know what? I completely agree with that. Reread the confusing parts. Read the passage over at least twice, and maybe 3 or 4 times. Each time, focus especially hard on the sentences that are really tripping you up. Okay, the tripping you up, right? This context is pretty understandable here. So what does it mean, tripping you up? It means kind of confuses you, right? Which is kind of hard for you, right? And again, maybe I haven't seen this word, but I understood the context of it, right? Because I'm reading this text the first time. So what does it mean, tripping you up? I'm double check, let's say Context Reverso website, right? Yeah, it's something which is which makes you what? Confused, right? What confusing you, right? If something confuses you, so probably it's something which tripping you up, okay? So you may find that this extra level of concentration clears up your confusion, clears up. So you're fine. You're not confused anymore after rereading the confusing parts of the book, right? So we deal with the confusing passages by rereading it, okay? And it's pretty understandable, right? But some people feeling bad to reread things because they think, oh, I'm bored or I don't want to do this. If you don't want to do this, probably it's not your book. Just change it. But if you have to do this, let's say you're doing your homework, so just reread it, man, or milady, because this is your job. Imagine that this is your work and you should make it clear. You should make it done. You should done it nicely. And if you don't do it correctly, probably you're going to fail. You're going to fail because rereading is a good technique. You understand more with that. Break it down into sections for outlining, right? It's the recommendation number 3. Break it down into sections for outlining. So we kind of see the paragraph, but now we're kind of breaking it down into little sections, right? For outlining, right? Just what the author is, what author means here. We should identify the beginning. middle, and the end of the passage, right? We are kind of scanning this part of the book, the chapter, let's say. So every chapter has the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? Every story has the beginning, middle, and the end. So we're scanning it, and then we're trying to break it down into these three sections, right? The beginning, middle, and the end. So we're figuring out what is the overall purpose of the passage, right? What is it? And then along with each of these sections. So we're kind of thinking, what is the purpose of this beginning part? What is the purpose of this middle part? What is the purpose of the end passage, right? We got it. We got the overall purpose. Great. So that's nice. We go next, right? But if you don't understand the middle, but you do understand beginning and the end, so just try to concentrate your attention, try to be concentrated on the middle. And then while you're understanding it, when you got it, so you can continue, right? But if you do have some complications, if it tripping you up, just what you should do if something is tripping you up, probably you should reread it, right? Use recommendation number 2, right? Reread the part of the middle, understand it deeply, try to understand the context, right? And then you're good to go. You're good to go. So what the example we have here from the author? Maybe you're stuck at a description of the Battle of Gettysburg in an American history textbook. Write a timeline listing the start, major turning points, and end of the battle. Next to the timeline, note how each phase of the battle shifted the advantage to one side or the other, right? So what's the concept? Let's imagine we have the fact, let's say USSR topic, right? We discuss or we read the book about the USSR history, right? So we should know the timeline, right? So we should know where is the start of the USSR, right? How the Russian Empire demolished, right? How it was destroyed, who destroyed it, right? And then we should know the beginning, who created USSR, right? Then we should know some major turning points, right? Stalin, and Lenin, right, and other leaders, right, of that time. Then we should understand how it ends, right, end of the battle, right? So Gorbachev, right, whatever. So all these things, we should see the connection. I call it, with my students, we call it the skeleton, right? The skeleton, the skelly of the text, right? Without this skeleton, we cannot connect the dots correctly, right? I like the example of this skelly example, right? It's very good. So because our bones are connected, right? And if your bones are connected to each other, it means you're very productive. If it doesn't connect, so probably your hand is broken or your leg is broken and you cannot move or do your job properly, right? So this is the thing. All right. I hope you got it right. So we have the timelines. We have some connections between. If you do understand it, that's great. And then continue the reading. But I like to picturize things. You know, for example, if I see the very unknown text, I'm trying to make a little diagram and I try to see the logical connection between words. I know it's quite hard sometimes, right? But it really helps me to understand the topic deeply and see the main parts of the logic, right? Main logical parts of the text. And so I recommend you guys to do the same. Number 4, check to see if there are examples. Okay. It's easy to get confused when books talk about complex terms or ideas, but luckily, lots of authors will quickly move on to examples to better show what they're talking about. If you don't see the example right away, keep reading, as they may be an example a few pages ahead, right? So, frankly speaking, so the author is telling us here, frankly speaking, it's like, you know, ASAP, I want to say something to you, right, directly. And check to see if there are examples here we need to find these examples, right? Because examples explain a lot to us, right? If we see no example, let's say I practice, let's say, for example, right? We're practicing present perfect continuous, right? And I'm saying, oh my God, what is the difference when I say I was swimming or I say I have been swimming? Oh my God, what is the difference, right? I need an example. If the student doesn't understand the construction, so you should give a lot of examples, right? You should learn what is the difference when I say I was painting the wall or I have been painting the wall, right? What is the difference? And actually, you know what? Probably you're not feeling it right now, right? Danila, there is no difference, you say, right? I've been painting the wall or I was painting the wall, but there is. So, right. So one connection with the result, right? So for example, you're dirty, right? You're super dirty, right? Your t-shirt is dirty and your mom caught you there and say, hey, come on. Why are you so dirty? And you say, Mom, sorry, but I've been painting my wall for a whole day, right? I've been painting and painting and painting, right? It's a result. Your t-shirt is dirty and that's why you explain the thing, right? But when you say I was painting my wall from 5 to 7. So it's not the important. So the fact about your t-shirt is not important. You're just telling your friend that the time zone from 5 to 8, you was busy. That's it. Right. But when somebody's asking you, man, why your t-shirt is dirty? Why are you so late? Right. The result is you are late and you're explaining, man, you know what? To be honest, I've been painting the wall for a whole day and I had no chance to change. Right. I had no chance to change my t-shirt. So something like this. I hope you got me right here. So it's about examples. We need more examples to understand the context and to understand the information more detailed, right? No details, no understanding, okay? So the number 5 thing is look up things you don't understand, right? Look up things we do not understand. You may be confused because there is a word of reference you don't recognize, right? So, and probably it's true, right? We see some new vocabulary, right? For example, the word recognize. What does it mean, recognize, Danila? We have no idea. And we check, right? So for example, in my own words, I can say the word, let's say, recognize or distinguish or understand, right? This is my explanation. But what the dictionary is telling me, right? To understand this, I go to Google and then I type there down, recognize meaning, right? And the Google is telling me 2 examples, right? 2 examples here, what I see and obvious examples, right? Oh, somebody's calling me. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I'm back. So I have 2 examples here. The number 1 example, identify, recognize, identify, right? Yeah. Another example, acknowledge the existence, right? Good. Pretty understandable for me. Identify. This is probably better word than just understanding, right? Identifying, knowing, picking out, right? I'm checking the synonyms, right? Remembering, recalling, recollecting, right? That's the thing, right? Another example of acknowledging is acknowledging, accepting, admitting, right? Granting, allowing, seeing, right? Owning, right? Understanding, supporting. So many explanations here, right? I know the word recognize is very connected to the word acknowledge, right? Or the word identify, knowing things. And I see this logic now. I see it vividly. Now I can continue to read, right? You may be confused because there is a word or reference you don't recognize, you don't understand, you don't see, you don't know, right? And then use a dictionary, the internet, or even the local library to check on these spots, right? Spot. What is spot? Spot, it's the location, right? Or this concrete situation, right? These spots, problematic spots, right? When you have a problematic spot, you need to find it, you identify, you recognize it, and then you check what does it mean on the web, on the internet, on Instagram, on whatever resource you use, on wikihow.com, right? So you just check it out. Or you go, if you have a question how to learn English, you go to Danila's website, danilabondarenko.ru, and you sign in for my free emotional English lesson. Okay, but not now, guys. Now I have a big waiting list. So probably in autumn, it's going to be available again, or during the summer. Just sign in if you want to have your tryout lesson with me. Okay, wait, but we're continuing. Sorry, I'm just going out of here. So we can look online, right? And I think you understand what this part means, right? We should look online and check the meaning of the word and then understand deeper step by step. And you know what? This kind of topic is very cool for our English learning, because while we're learning the new information, new vocabulary, the new texts, right? We can use every step here for our English progression, because it definitely increases our quality of the language, you know, because when you interact with the language, you're not checking all information in Russian, guys. You check all the information in English, like you're listening now, right? You're learning the language with the use of English, not Russian. And I'm trying to use only English with you guys. I think I know 100% that probably you'll never heard my own Russian language, right? You've never. And you know what? Yeah, it's true. I love my language and I use it all over, right? So I love to have my own language wherever I work, go, travel. So I'm trying to use only English. And that's why my Russian skill is quite bad. And okay, never mind. All right. So the number 6, step number 6 for our recommendation about the book reading is finish the book and come back to the confusing spot. So they just recommend to read the whole thing. Oh my God. So don't let the confusing passage keep you from finishing the book. Make your best guess about what is going on in the passage and read on. Read on means just continue to read. You can only really understand a book if you read it from start to finish, okay? I quite disagree. It depends on the book, first of all. Of course, if you read the story of Harry Potter, right, novel, or just whatever book you're reading, like the story, fairy tale, or, you know, what you can read, I don't know, let's say War and Peace book, right? Trilogy or whatever. This is quite hard book, and you're not getting the plot if you haven't finished the book. Of course, you should finish it. But let's imagine you read about time management. Okay, just get what you really need and close the book. It's fine. In my opinion, it's completely fine to get the information you need and close the book and go next. You know, for example, you don't need to listen to every podcast episode of mine. Of course, you need if you want to praise, but okay, never mind. Sorry about that. You just read or listen what you want, and then you're just reading on or listening on, right? You don't need to be connected to the thing because you do what you like. You find what you want to find. You know, that's what I think is correct. But the author recommends us to finish the book from the beginning until the end, and I think it's good from the perspective of finalizing, right? Because when you never finish things, you create the specific habit which is not very good, right? Which rely on which you cannot rely on. So it's better to create something good, and it's a good habit to finish what you start. Okay. Hope you got me correctly here. So, and the number 7, the recommendation number 7, it's the last one here. Ask for help when you're finished the book. Ask for help. Let's imagine what the author is telling us here. If you're still struggling to understand confusing parts of the book, turn to a buddy. Turn to a buddy. Buddy, it's the representation of your partner or your friend. You can call him, hey buddy, how it's going, right? A buddy, it's the person who is your friend. So turn to a buddy and ask about the book, right? This could be a friend, you know, who is also read the book, a teacher, or a family member. If you're both confused, you may be able to figure it out by working together and discussing the book. Yeah, that's why I have this beautiful conversational lessons announced right online. So we gather and we gonna speak about different philosophies, right? So we're using the language first, and we're discussing interesting parts of life, different philosophies, which make our life better. In my opinion, it's definitely a good thing because we killed two rabbits, right? We got two holes. It's very important to not just learning the language. It's better to improve life with the use of the language, because language is not the target. The information, what we are learning, is the target. We're getting smarter using the skill of English. And that's what I want you guys to understand and to use in your daily life and routine. Okay. That's the last step here. Okay. So let's revise all of them, and I'll ask you a couple questions here, right? Just, do you understand the topic or not? Let's go for it. Number one, keep reading to see if you can figure it out. All right. So we should understand, is this book is good for us or not? And check the context. If the context is pretty understandable, let's do it. Let's read the book. Number two, reread the confusing parts, right? We read the confusing parts and we understand deeply what this book is about, right? If we see no logic, we reread things. Easy. Number three, break it down into sections for outlining. All right. So we should outline things. We should understand it deeply. So we have a struggle with understanding of a battle, right? We don't know who is winning, who is losing, what is the time period, right? So we are using the special timeline. We use a special, copybook, and we are kind of drawing a picture on paper, right? And we see the situation. We're breaking it down into little section to understand it deeper. All right. That's clear. It's the number three. Number four is check to see if there are any examples, right? We need to see examples. Do the author have some examples down below? And you check for them. If the examples are not explaining anything, so then just close the book or look for another author. Okay, I'm kidding. Of course, you just go deeper and you try to find the understandable parts or examples which you understand, right? Or just think on your own of an example, right? And you think practically. Number five is look up things you don't understand. Okay, I've used the English translation. Just meaning dictionary, right? So I check the dictionary. And if I understood the meaning, it's good. If I didn't get the meaning, I try to find the good, respectable resource, and then I check for it, and then I understand more. Number six, finish the book and come back to the confusing spot. Okay, so here it's pretty simple. We finishing the book and come back to the confusing spot. We just scan it all over, and then we finish parts which are hard. It's good, but you can lose the motivation in the end, that's for sure, right? But never mind. Do it if you want, right? It's just the recommendations. And number seven, ask for help when you're finished the book. Discuss the topic. That's what we're doing right now. We're not just reading it. We're not just listening the topic. We're commenting it. We're discussing the context, right? We're discussing the new vocabulary, right? That's how you understand deeply. That's how you understand and learn English in a nice, practical, useful way. Okie dokie. So that's the way how we learn the language. That's all for today, guys. That's the part number one. And we finished the topic about dealing the confusing passages. And this is the overall big topic of how to understand the book you are reading. And I'm really excited to say that I will be with you very soon. Next week, you will see me again, and we will continue our journey of life with our English progression. So you just keep doing your job with English, keep watching movies, keep watching series, keep reading the books, keep reading the websites, do things what you like, and you will succeed with your language. Hug you all, kiss you all, guys. Thank you to being with us here, and now. Really excited to say that you are amazing, that you're doing your own progression. Keep it up. Don't think about grammar too much, and you'll succeed for sure, right? You'll find your success inside of the English progression. Have a good one, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.